So I just opened up the document, and one of the things that I think is important, is if they throw a metric one on there, and you have opened up your document and you don't know if you're inches or metric, you always want to type in startup, and it defaults to 3. That means it just kind of opens up. You want to change it to 1. All right. And unfortunately, what you have to do though is you have to close um, the file when you do that. So let's make sure here. Hang on here. So I'm recording. All right. So let's close this out. And then what you do, you'll notice then when you open it up the next time. So let's open it up here, my AutoCAD. You will notice that it is going to ask me if I want imperial. So that's the part of the startup. So there it is. I want to do inches because I can tell this is inches, and there I am. All right. And so once it opens up, then what you want to do is make sure that on the very top ribbon, you want to, if you don't see the menu bar, make sure you click show menu bar, right? And this will give you all additional row here. And then you always want to make sure that we're in drafting and annotation. We're not working in 3D. And then a couple things you want to do is you want to go down to where the grid is on the very bottom, and you want to do the snap settings. So I do not use the snap on. We have an assignment, we'll do that, but not here. What that means is at every integer of 0.5 or whatever you say, it clicks there. It can be really a pain because we're not doing everything at 0.5 here, but I always have the polar tracking on. I think it defaults to 90, but you want to, 45 is a pretty good one to do. And it really depends on what your rotation angle is here. So here I'm looking at 120. So 180 minus 120 is going to be 60. So you know what? I might want to do this one in 30-degree increments, right? Because of the rotation angle, I might actually want to do that. And then the other thing I do is on my object snap, I have the endpoint, midpoint, center. And then this is my preference, the intersection. And you can, when you watch this video, you can pause it. But these are the ones that I do, and especially the midpoint and the center is what we really want to be keying in on this assignment. Okay. All right. So once I have that, notice that on the very bottom right, you've got this customization. Will you be using that line weight later? And so you turn it on and off here. Okay. But so that's the basic setting, but let's go ahead and look at this assignment. So I'm doing the circular spacer. Now, so in all these assignments, you really just have to work with the information that it gives you. A CAD drawing typically does not give you every dimension. And if you think about it, think about a car or a building. If they gave you every dimension, that's all you would see is dimensions. So you have to, here you see it says diameter 1 inch. So we know that's going to be typical for the other two here, right? So it's a diameter of 1 inch, this circle spacer. So what I will do though is I will go to my ribbon, and I'm not going to do circle radius. I could, but why? It's giving me everything in dimension. So I'll go to circle diameter, and I know that my 0, 0 is going to be the center of this thing, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it's sure going to make this a lot easier. So there it is. I can do the view cube now to the top, right? You want to center everything, or I could do it here, but let's go ahead and do that again. So circle diameter 0, 0 is my center, right? All right, so just read what it tells you. 0, 0. I've done it to enter, and then I can work from the outside in, inside out. It doesn't really matter. Let's go from the outside in. I'll type in 7, enter. All right, now where did it go? Oh no, now it's actually right there, right? So it was just a little big. So now I'll do the same thing. So a couple things you can do. Believe it or not, once I have a command, and let's say I do the circle diameter, and I want to do it again. Typically, you just hit enter, right? And that'll give you your command. So what if it's an active command? So let's go 0, 0, enter, and I'm going to go from the outside in. In this case, I want to do this 5-inch diameter, and I'm going to have to change that though, the kind of line it is. And the way that I would do that is I go here. So if you notice, it's got these dots, and that's a center line. And I go here, I'm like, wait, I want to do a line type, but I don't see it. right? So what do I do? So what I need to do then is I need to go up to the format and go ahead and say line type. And here again, it's not there. So I have to load this. And so some people will actually do Control A and load them all. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a center, and you'll notice that there's a couple different ones here. So this is how big and small they are. You want to play around with it. I'll just do this default center. And let's load another one. Let's load we'll load all three, right? And say, okay. So there they are. And then I have to say, okay. All right. So now when I go here and I right click and I go to my properties, you're going to see when I go to my line type that I've got different versions of it, right? So it wasn't there before. I have to load it. It's very important that you understand that. So I load it. I'm going to try to get it close. Either one of these is probably fine. So that's that line. All right. So let's go ahead and make another one, circle diameter. And this one's going to be the 2.75 diameter. So enter center. I could type it in, but you're probably better off typing it in. And then this one is, we said diameter 2.75 or 2 3/4, and push enter again. Center of this last one, we know is 0, enter. And then it says 2 inches. I feel like I'm missing one, but let's just go ahead while we're here. Let's dimension these just to confirm, because I feel like I'm missing one. So I'll go to diameter, because that's what it's giving me. Let's start with the outside one, which would be here. And phew. All right. So let's just do them all at once. I'm going to push enter because that's the active command. And let's do this one. All right. So I didn't have to go. It was active. So I can just do it again. I'm going to push enter, and I'll do it one more time. And I feel like this is not right. I can tell it's not right because that is 4. And I don't see 4. So that's not right. Let's do the other one here. And let's see what that is, 2.75. So that's right. So I made an error, and that's okay, right? So let's go ahead and make another circle diameter. And this one's going to be center is 0, 0. And then we want the 2 inch. So the diameter should be 2. Enter, and there it is. So I don't need the 4. Let's delete that one. We'll take this dimension and we'll snap it onto the center there. See if we can do that. No, it's not going to work. So let's take our dimension here and diameter, and we're going to do this inside one, and hopefully this is going to be 2 inches. Okay. Now we all do notice that we do need to make a slight change here. I'm going to have to draw some more circles, but let's just go ahead and get the setting done. Format, dimension style, and set current. I'm going to go to modify, and all I really need to do, the font size looks good. Let's just change the primary units to tenths hundredths. All right, 0.00. I don't see that I need to get rid of any leading. That would be like a 0.1. Everything's there. So I think that's all I need to do right here. Okay. Close, and there it goes. So far so good. Now let's go ahead and we're going to make these circles. So what I'll do though is I'm going to go ahead and make a line here for the center, right? So I could say start at 0, 0, enter, and I could take it just whenever you do a center line, you want to always go beyond the part. All right, and I'll go here, and then I'm just going to drag it on the other side. And make it one line, and it's okay if you eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now select the line, and I've already done this, so now I go to line type, and I will go ahead and select a center line. All right, and that's that one. So that looks good. And then a couple of things I could do. I could do it again, or I want you to be able to rotate. So if I come up here and I select rotate, or I can type it in. Oh, I got 2 people. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and rotate this. I'll go ahead and select rotate, the command right up here, select the object. All right, push enter. Base point is going to be 0, 0, enter. But what I want to do here is I want to say copy. All right, I want to copy that. So I hit copy, and then I can rotate it. Right, and so if I hit that copy, and then I don't have to do it all over again. All right, so I'll do that again in a minute. So now let's go ahead and draw. I need 3 circles in here. It says it's 120 degrees typical. So you have to know, well, what does that mean? So that means that it's 60 degrees from the Y, but that would mean it's also 30 degrees. So I'm going to make a line here as a construction line, and I'll start it at 0, 0, enter. And then what I can do is, because I have that setting done, if you notice it's at 30 degrees because we set that up in advance, that should be good, right? So I should be able to click that. And then let's go ahead while we're here and change that to my line type. I'm going to change this to my center line because that's what it has. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. Now I can either do copy or rotate. I'm going to do rotate. I can also come to the command line on the bottom, type in rotate, enter, select the object, enter, and the base point, I'm just reading what it says, is 0, 0, enter. Now I don't want to just do it. I want to hit copy, right? Copy it. And then I can rotate it at the angle. And look, it actually says 120 degrees. All right. So there it is. Now getting closer to being done here. Now what I do need to do, and maybe I should have done this before, I need to add a circle at that intersection. So what I can do, believe it or not, that intersection, I've already selected that in my settings. So I'll make a circle here. Center point is going to be here. And then it says the diameter is 1. Type in 1, right? So there it is. And before I get too carried away, probably want to just verify that is correct. And sure enough, that's correct. Now, I probably should have rotated that with the other one, and I could have done that. But let's just go ahead and type in rotate, enter, select the object, push enter. My base point, we know it's 0, 0. That's the center. Rotation angle, I can just type that in, 120, enter. There it is. Oh, I forgot to do the copy, silly me. So let's do that again. Rotate, enter. Oh, come on. You got this. Rotate, enter, select the objects, enter. Base point, we said is 0, 0, enter. Now I have to make sure I can just type C or hit copy, right? And then the rotation angle, I can just type in 120, enter. And let's push enter again and see what happens here. All right. So I'm just going to push enter, select the object, push enter, base point 0, 0, enter, copy. And then the rotation angle, it's going to be another 120 typical, and it's already done that. So all I have to do is push enter, and there it is. Now I will go in here. I will come in here and I will do the angle. Let's see if this works. 1, 2, and it's 120. All right. So, however, we do have a slight problem. The problem is it says typical. Now, so there's a lot of ways to do this. So I've got my properties here. I want everybody to be very careful, though, that when you do this, we're going to do what's called a text override. So I can actually come down here and eventually you'll find it says text override right there. I can type it in. Or better yet, what I would just do is double click on there, and that makes it live. Now, then what I'll do is, if I can do this right, let's see if I can do this correctly. I want to add to this. Please work while I'm doing a demo. And I am going to edit my text. So 120 degrees. Let's copy that. Maybe we'll say, all right, let's see if we can do this. And go to my, all right, so I can edit it here. And it's not being very friendly to me. There we go. So, and then I would type in TY, there we go, P. It's really important that you type in period. All right, so TY, P, period. And I'll select that out of there. Now let's see what happens though. If this angle was now to increase, what happens if, all right, so just be careful when you do text overrides because sometimes it doesn't play nice, but that looks pretty good because you'll notice I can also increase it and it's all there. So what I would do now is I would want to make sure that a part like this, that I want to make sure that my line weight's typically the outside of the object The drawing doesn't really differentiate all that much. So typically the parts of the drawing would be thicker than everything else. So I would go into line weight. This one, the drawing doesn't show it all that clearly, but generally the parts are always going to be a little thicker. Come down here and make sure it's turned on. Now, with your drawing, we're trying to match the book. It's not all that evident, but you always typically want to have the part as thicker than the dimensions or the center lines. All right, so I am going to let's stop this recording.